Hi and welcome to this week's Sports Spotlight, where we'll be covering City losing ground to Chelsea in the Premier League title race, Harry Kane's marvellous display for Spurs in the North London derby, and England's thrilling win against Wales in Cardiff in their Six Nations opener. I'm joined by IB Times Sport editor Nick Howson. So Nick, we'll start off with, at the top of the Premier League, City ended up salvaging a draw against Hull City whilst Chelsea won 2-1 away to Aston Villa. It's a 7-point gap now. Is this pretty much unassailable?
Yeah, you've got to say so. I mean, you would have made Chelsea the massive favourites before the game, before the weekend anyway. And yes, the 7-point lead with 14 matches left does look unassailable, as you say. City just have sort of seemingly run out of ideas, and without Yaya Toure, they haven't won in the league without him since he was at the African Cup of Nations. Obviously, Ivory Coast went the whole way, so the full extent of his absence has been felt. Wilfred Bonny obviously still hasn't played for them either. Very unlikely to play in midweek as well. So their problems are going to, accentuate. Great for Chelsea that their lead is what it is. It's almost back at the 8 points, and they're going back into the Champions League knowing that they can almost put all their efforts in towards that and trying to get Jose Mourinho his third Champions League victory. So it's been, the title race has never really got off the ground as far as I'm concerned. City yesterday were level on points, level on goals, etc. It was only alphabetically they were separated, but really Chelsea have not really been challenged this season, and I think the weekend's game sort of defined what has been sort of a bit of a limp title race.
And over in the North London derby, Tottenham managed to come back from a goal down to win 2-1 thanks to just a terrific performance from Harry Kane, scoring 2 goals. He's lit up the Premier League this year with his efforts in front of goal, and yet is uncapped for England still. Is he England's brightest young prospect now?
Well, I think we don't. No one has enough fingers and toes to count the amount of potential England prospects that we've had over the last decade, you could argue. Obviously, great to see him given an opportunity next month against Lithuania. Hopefully, I think it's a foregone conclusion that he'll be called up ahead of even one or two of the more established England players. Danny Welbeck, for example, is not in great form. So it'd be great to see Kane given a chance. 22 goals this season. He's really got Mauricio Pochettino out of jail at Tottenham. Didn't really fancy him the first couple of weeks of the season. Wanted the big name players, the Adebayors and the Soldados, to take more responsibility. And Kane just forced his way in. Perhaps not given the opportunity he should have been, but he's been fantastic. And the 2 goals he scored sort of summed up the way he is. Got a bit of a poacher's instinct, but also, he's got a bit of guile about him. And that header for the winning goal with 3 minutes left was as outstanding a finish as you'll see in the Premier League over the weekend. So, it'd be great to see him involved internationally, and we'll see how it goes from there. Hopefully, he's given a sustained run, because too many players are given 1 cap or a handful of caps, and then they're not sort of discarded, and they say that the more established players remain in the squad. Hopefully we'll see him at the Under-21 Championships as well in the summer. So certainly a bright future, but let's not go too ahead of ourselves.
And we'll move over to the rugby finally, where England somewhat banished the demons of a couple of years back when they were humiliated by Wales in Cardiff, lost 33, and this time they won 21-16. It was a very promising start to their Six Nations, but just how important is this victory for Stuart Lancaster's side in a World Cup year? Yeah,
Stuart, Lancaster was asked after the game how important it's going to be, and I think the whole build-up has been, well, how significant is this going to be? Is this a marker laying down, etc.? And I think if you ask any of the players and the management, they'll probably say not at all. It's a one-off game. We'll move on to the next one. It's still one game of 5 in the Six Nations, and they still want to get that done first. Is it a marker? Well, I guess given that Wales would expect to play a stronger England team in terms of the injury count, you'd expect it's going to be slightly lower when it comes to the World Cup. Then yes, it is a big marker, because Wales weren't able to beat them on their own patch in Cardiff, where that psychological defeat, that 33 defeat that you alluded to, was handed out 2 years ago. So from that point of view, I think very significant that Wales couldn't put them away, and that England, on the same hand, had the strength and depth that they could overcome a Wales team that I think were largely tipped to do quite well in this championship. And yes, okay, it's going to be difficult for them to get out of their pool, but they certainly would have put a bit of a test at Twickenham as well. So yes, I think very significant. We'll see how that translates into the rest of the championship, whether England can sustain that. And obviously with players coming back, you'd think they're going to be, along with Ireland, they're obviously one of the favourites now.
Well, for all our sports coverage, go to our website, ibtimes.co.uk.